Good evening. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Tom Green. An historic snowstorm of November has now come and gone.
In some parts of Colorado, it dumped about half of the snow that we see in an average winter. And with so much snow, hopefully we'll see some widespread benefits as well. Our Angeline McCall has more.
As quickly as it came, the snow is disappearing in Denver.
It's a historic storm. This is, I think, the third biggest storm we've ever had in November since we've been keeping records.
9 News meteorologist Kathy Sabin says this marks the 11th largest storm in Colorado since record keeping began. Denver typically gets about 60 inches of snow on average during the winter. With 20 inches at DIA, it's about a third of what we usually see all season.
But for our neighbors to the south, Kiowa, Elizabeth, Eastern Parker, Lyman, areas out on the plains that got the 40 inches and had the 4 and 5 foot drifts, yeah, they probably got half to maybe a full winter's worth of snow with this storm.
And even in November, it felt like a spring storm with that heavy, wet snow. Most snowfalls have about 1 inch of water in every 10 inches of snow. Not this one.
We think this had maybe 2 or 3 inches of water in that 10-inch snowfall because it was just so wet and so heavy and so beneficial in a time where we've been talking about prolonged period of drought, record high temperatures, and fire danger. So this storm came at the right time.
The next drought map will come out Thursday, hopefully with some relief for Denver, Greeley, Fort Collins, and the foothills that are currently in extreme drought conditions.
Yeah, this is definitely one for the record books and so welcome. Wow, do we need this moisture.
The first official snow of the season and something that isn't all that unusual to meteorologists who have seen this before.
It's been a long time since I've seen a storm like this in the month of November, but I'm not surprised because November was always one of those months we had to watch for big storms.
So as far as fire danger, hopefully this helps. But if we do see another stretch of mild temperatures and windy and dry conditions, we could start to worry about that all over again despite this precipitation, so much of it that we just received.
And Kathy, right now there's a lot of wet, damp leaves everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and as all three of us know, we talk about this all the time, fire danger is something we talk about year-round now. It wasn't always like that in Colorado. So we'll take a week off from that, or maybe a couple weeks off from that, and enjoy the break while we can. The skies over Colorado in the past 24 hours have been alight with color at sunrise and sunset. So nice to see the blue sky today. We have a clear, cold night and a warming and drying trend this week. So we're going to get a break from the snow in Denver, while the mountains could see additional accumulation, which is always welcome this time of year. We're down into the lower 40s after a day with highs in the upper 40s. Winds are light, and with all of that snow cover, good radiational cooling means a cold night. This is our storm headed for the Midwest. This is the one we're looking at for Tuesday into Wednesday for the mountains. We have just a few high clouds drifting in tonight and tomorrow. A beautiful Monday. No issues with travel. Temperatures overnight dropping into the 30s. Coming up, I'll have the weather you'll wake up to and when we might see the next round of rain and snow along the Front Range.
Democratic Congresswoman Yadira Caraveo is acknowledging she will lose her seat. Today, she conceded to Republican Gabe Evans in the race for Colorado's 8th congressional district. This happened 5 days after the election. The race, which drew millions in campaign ads on both sides, has not officially been called by the Associated Press. But as of this afternoon, Evans was leading by 2,600 votes, and 92% of the votes in the district have been counted. Caraveo has served that district for 2 years. In a statement she wrote, quote, "While this isn't the outcome we had hoped for, the work is not over. I look forward to returning to Washington to finish out this term and will continue to be an independent voice for the people of this district." In response to her concession, Evans wrote, quote, "I have spent my entire life running toward challenge, and now I am ready to take on my next challenge, representing our communities in D.C. He'll hold a press conference tomorrow at noon. The Colorado National Guard will conduct Veterans Day flyovers tomorrow. F-16 fighter jets will fly over Loveland, Longmont, Westminster, and Lakewood. It could happen between 11:50 tomorrow morning and noon. That's all dependent on the weather, of course. A nonprofit in Longmont harnesses the healing power of horses to help people, including veterans.
Medicine horses' work could be impacted, though, by rising costs and funding cuts. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause explains.
Come on. Walking into Medicine Horse, therapists here are ready to get to work.
Hello. He's like, I'll be friendly.
Colette Beck with the Boulder Vet Center says equine therapy is in demand.
Now it's our most popular group.
They offer therapy for many groups here, but in recent years, both the horses and therapists have built strong connections to serving veterans.
Sometimes it can happen within 5 minutes.
Therapist Michael Mahoney says behaviors that show up in veterans' relationships pop up quickly working with the horses here.
When they are working with the horse to lead, they have these moments of like, oh, this is the first time that I've led without feeling like I'm being domineering or controlling of the partner that I'm working with, but actually inviting them into an activity together. And then they start to say, oh, that's making me think of how I might lead with my children or at work. And it can be really powerful.
It surprised me, some of the moving and touching moments that I experienced with them. You know, just that some of them for the first time, they got to experience feeling calm, because I think it's easier for them to trust animals before people. And so I've seen some pretty incredible moments.
Okay, come here. You're doing good.
A veteran himself,
Come here. Whoa.
Nate Parks has felt the growth here firsthand.
I've learned a lot about myself. It's made me a more confident person.
That makes the funding cuts for their program tough.
Everybody feels it when the economy takes a step back.
Rising costs, from insurance to the hay for the horses, widening that funding gap.
Yeah, so currently the need is about $22,000 that we're short.
They're searching for new grants and funds, but looming cuts are what everyone here hopes to avoid.
It would be tragic to not have this space that folks can return to round after round, or have new folks come in, because we really have seen the ripple effects in the community be pretty powerful.
We're hoping, you know, that our veterans will be able to continue. So yeah, it's definitely, it would be a loss if they couldn't do it.
Searching for a new path
You are loved.
to ensure these four-legged therapists can continue their sessions.
Yeah, cross fingers.
As they search for more grant funding, Medicine Horse is putting the Veterans Program in the spotlight for its push on Colorado Gives Day. The Veterans Program has provided more than 100 veterans with equine therapy since it started back in 2020.
Well, as we come up on Veterans Day, and another time to be thinking about those veterans in every way that we can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Back when they get back from service and in the years that come.
Yeah, it's a lifelong transition
Yeah.
for so many of them. And horses they are great communicators in a different way.
Yeah, and they've said that, you know, sometimes it's really hard for veterans to talk to people, but animals really bridge that gap.
It's different. All right. Thank you, Rachel.